Are you a cricket lover with development skills and a thirst for innovation? ICC is back with Next in 2.0, a groundbreaking global cricket hackathon.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, an absolute beauty.
Register now to be part of the revolution and redefine how fans experience the game.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and a very warm good evening to all joining us today. It's an honor to welcome you all to the introductory session of Next in 2.0, a global cricket hackathon. And I'm Kaushik Roy from Hack to Skill, and I'm thrilled to guide you through the entire session that we'll be having today of how Next in 2.0 came into fruition and how we started with the Global Cricket Hackathon's second edition. So, before we dive into the heart of the event, let's set up the stage for the incredible journey that lies ahead for us. We'll be having a panel, we'll be having guests joining in, we'll be having the who's who of the cricketing world. Throughout the session, would be taking us and letting us know the best of Next in 2.0, what we should prepare, how we should get started with idea curation, which are the problem statements or the tracks that we should opt for, what's the expectations of each of the tracks, and how to come up with the best solutions so that it improves your chance to represent your country, to represent your state, to represent your organization, your whatever you are trying to represent to the utmost platform of creating the technology revolution in cricket. So we'll be having a lot of things going on today. And before we begin the session, I'd like to introduce to you the visionary leader, Mr. Finn Bradshaw, who has been the head of digital at International Cricket Council. Previously, he led the digital strategy for Australian Open at Tennis Australia and established Cricket Australia's digital program. Way before that, he worked across magazines and digital for News Corp. So, welcome, Mr. Finn Bradshaw, to the session. Hello, Finn.
Hi, Kaushik. Thank you for that was a little overwhelming for an introduction, but it's fantastic to be here. I'm so excited about it. The hackathon we did earlier this year is one of the favorite things I've done in my time in cricket, and it's so great that we can do it again so quickly afterwards.
Yeah, same here, Finn. I'd say the same about it. Like the way we came up with Next in 1.0 earlier this year, the last edition, and the solutions that we got obviously is the thought process behind how we started. So, Finn, I'd also like to know about what was the process. How did you came up, like you and the entire ICC team came up with the thought of going ahead with the next edition of Next in 2.0?
Yeah, well, first of all, we'd had such a strong response to the first version, and it was so hard. I mean, you guys did an amazing job of reaching people right across the world. You know, we had so many applicants, like 10,000 plus applicants, 100 plus countries, and it was really hard to cut it down to 5. So we knew that there was a lot of talent out there, so many great ideas. And then with the World Cup in India this year, we just thought we can't miss this opportunity to go back out there and give more people an opportunity to showcase their ideas, to bring their talents and their passion to help solve problems in cricket, and do that when the whole country is focused on the greatest cricket event we think will be ever. And so we couldn't let many more time go past. So we were really keen to do it as quickly as possible, even if that seemed like a fairly big hurdle to do on top of everything else that we're doing. But secondly, we then also looked at the way we had all structured it previously. And we structured it last time, the tracks around specific technologies. which, is one way of approaching it. But when we step back, what we're trying to do is solve problems here for cricket fans, cricket players, cricket coaches, parents, anyone involved in it. And so if you really want to be solving problems for people, you need to be focused from a product side of things. And so that's what helped us decide to make the tracks more product focused rather than more technology focused, and then sort of say we're agnostic in terms of what technology you use. We would like to see, we've made some suggestions in there, but we really wanted to make sure people focused on the product first and foremost, and less be obsessed with what the technology is. Because if we're honest, last time there were a few where it was great use of the technology, like really amazing exponents of technology, but it was just lacking a product, and so we wanted to make sure that the team's really focused on what problems they're solving for cricket fans and making a great product idea.
Yes, sure, sure. And the way you explained the journey that we had in Next in 1.0, the AMA sessions that we did, the problem statements, understanding the fan experience and enhancing it overall. That was the theme the last year. And like, what's the thought process this year that we broadened the entire like the theme of the hackathon, putting up the gates open for all the categories that are out there, be it performance analytics, be it the fan experience or the cricket at the grassroots. How did we come to the decision that we'd go ahead with all the wider categories out there? If you could shed some light on that thought process, that would be really helpful for the participants to understand and come up with the best solutions of what ICC is looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, the first one, we quite deliberately really focused around what we'd call essentially fan experience, use cases, where some were in the home, some were in stadiums, but it was focused on that. And that was quite deliberate because that's sort of where the ICC traditionally plays, that's sort of the main role. But again, once we sort of took a step back and reviewed it, obviously the whole cricket experience, for most people, it's not just watching a match on TV or watching a match in the stadium. It's the playing of it, and so we then we're then thinking about, well, obviously we think there's areas that technology can transform the way the game is coached or the way it is analysed. And then once we took a step further on that, we're like, well, you have to sort of separate between the really high performance side of things, because what you're looking for, in a high end, batter, like the kind of information you're trying to give to someone who's already playing at a really high level is very different to someone who's just starting out in their journey. And if we sort of push that together, we felt like that wasn't maybe going to, end up with the right outcomes. And we wanted people to really be thinking about those products, and so we wanted to be quite clear on sort of who are those products being developed for. And so that's why we split it into one that's really about sort of coaches coaching at the highest level, and what kind of products can we create them that help a player going from representing their state to representing their country, or representing their school to representing the state or their region, versus maybe products that help a parent who's just got a child who's come home from school and said, man, I played cricket today. It was so great, but, I wasn't very good. I want to get better. Can you help me? Maybe that parent hasn't played much cricket themselves. Maybe they've never coached anything. And so how can we create something for them? And they're obviously very different use cases. And so we wanted to be quite clear on sort of that side of things. But we wanted to expand it so that people had the opportunity to provide cool new things for right across the cricket experience, from playing in the backyard or playing in the playing gully cricket, through to playing at a high level, through to we still want to see great ideas for people who are sitting at home on the couch or sitting in the stadium. So that was really what drove our inspiration for the tracks this time.
Got it pretty well. Like, elaborated to the participants on what was the thought process, Finn, and I hope it would help the participants who are looking forward to submit their ideas in understanding the core that like ICC had in bringing up the Nexen 2.0. And now as we move ahead, what I'd like to understand more further is that what was the what do you think would be the key highlight of Nexin 2.0, and how do you see the solutions coming up and the way they can mold the technology and the cricket together in coming up years?
I think obviously the second one we hope will have even more people apply to it, and we think it'll be even harder to get through to the final round. We're really excited about the people we'll have on the panel to help choose this time. So you'll get to meet that someone later on in this chat today. That's definitely more exciting than seeing my face. And so we think that'll help really make sure we identify fantastic opportunities that are going to what we want is ideas that can become products quite quickly. And we want this opportunity that the thing that really excited me about the first one was this idea that there's like 10,000 super bright people who have just got amazing intelligence and capability and passion, putting that energy and that intelligence and that drive into solving problems for cricket rather than in other areas that they might be solving. And so to be able to do that again, and then to be able to maybe create ideas that help the next young kid become the next Rowett or the next Rishabh Pant or whatever it is, like that's really, really exciting. And so if you do that, then the future of the game is in really good hands. And so what we're hoping through this is that we just get all this brain power around the world focused on creating better cricketers and creating fans that understand the game more. And if we get those outcomes, then that's a tremendous service for our sport.
Got it, Finn. So what I'd say is that as we talk about this year's edition, that is Nexen 2.0, the last time that we did Nexen 1.0, we had some great teams coming up and showcasing their talent on how they could integrate what a fan could experience and what are the limits of the technologies to help engage the community which is out there, who is a fan, who's an ardent cricket lover, who wants to get the best out of the cricket and to understand the technologies and get the best experience. And I'd say one of the teams that created a large impact last year, we have Team Fenesco. Venugopal are the team leader from last year edition's winner, who had come up with a great solution in terms of fan experience, how that could be enhanced. So without getting us all laid and being waiting for the time, let's have Mr. Venugopal R from Team Fenesco, the last edition's winner among us, and have a discussion on how did he come up with the solution, and then what was the thought process behind when he was coming up with what he created the last year, and how is it working out right now. So without wasting much of time, I welcome Mr. Venugopal R. So hello. Hi, Venugopal.
Hi, Kaushik. Hi, Finn. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Venu, great to see you.
Good to see you, Finn. Yeah, I can't believe this is the second one coming up so soon. It's, we are just kind of still in the celebratory mood from the first win this year in March. And trust me, it was one of the best experiences of my life in terms of the entire participation and how it all panned out in the end. And I'm sure, this one is going to be great too. So I think I'll just, briefly, mention about how, this works for the new participants. So I think, guys, this is something which is, I'll definitely give a lot of credit to Hack to Skill and the ICC and NIUM to have, put up a show together in such a brief span of time. And I think, it's a huge encouragement for a lot of us guys who are, passionate about technology and passionate about cricket and want to bring the two together. And I just felt that this was a perfect opportunity for us to kind of do this in a way wherein, we could work with the parent body of cricket at the ICC, and who better to kind of work with in this regard. So thanks to Finn as well and the team at the ICC who were constantly in touch with us throughout the process. And I think the mentors out there, I think Usman and Finn and all the team members from the digital team were really, kind to kind of give us good feedback, timely feedback, and also let us know what to present, how to present, and what works, which idea would be beneficial in the long run as well. And I think that really helped us a lot in the entire process. And it was kind of a whirlwind week for me personally, being switching between India and Canada. I was actually in India while we started off this process. I had to go back to Canada, and within a week's time, I had to be back in India again. So it was quite an experience, but trust me, it was all worth it in the end. For the guys who are, going to be participants for this time around, just, maybe a pro tip, don't reveal all your cards in the first round itself. Keep some surprise element for the finals, and think that's something which definitely worked in our favor. We figured it out that obviously we can't show the same thing which we did in the preliminary round in the finals as well. So we probably did a bit of innovation, bit of thinking, and figured out how do we kind of work through this. And yeah, that all worked out well in the end. And quite a surreal experience having Finn there along with DK and along with a lot of other jury members who are very passionately asking us questions about what the solution was all about, how is it going to solve the problem. And I think that's the key element out here, the problem statement. You have to think about, are you trying to solve a problem, or are you trying to find a question to a solution, rather than the other way around. So that's something which I would advise, that always look at the problem statement in great detail, and figure out how we're trying to address that for the greater good. So
yeah, I think one of the things that really impressed us as judges was Venu's team was really clear on what they were trying to do and how that would help fans. It's like a 3D depiction of live data in a stadium, and not only did they articulate why that would be great for fans, but they could show us that in the room. It wasn't sort of a promise of future development. It was there and then, and it's great. They've been working with my team since then to see how we can take that to the next level for the World Cup this year. Which is it's really important for us as the ICC that this competition is not just a thing that we run once and we leave it. We want this to spark ongoing innovation and development, and the number one thing we can do is use our platform to showcase that and elevate it and bring that to fans across the world. And so, for us to be able to then work with Vinu's team and sort of take that, really to bring that to a mature state, has been a fantastic sort of process since the event. So it didn't stop, when we handed over the big novelty check in Bangalore.
Absolutely. I think that was the other point, that obviously if the judges are impressed by your ideas, I'm sure there'll be a way to figure out how you can work with the ICC and NIUM in the long run as well, to kind of come up with that solution for cricket fans and lovers across the world. So I think that's the icing on the cake. And like Finn rightly mentioned, we are really privileged at Team Fanisco to be working with the ICC for this year's World Cup, and hopefully we should be live in a couple of months' time with the project.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think, for me, like seeing, Venu's team, I think the first time they met was in person, was like the day before, was that right? So, again, the fact that we've kind of did that thing that sparked people from right across the world to get together and work on that product. And then, give them the opportunity to meet in person and present in person. It's really cool. We don't often get to sort of create opportunities like that, and so to see that come to life with Venu and for the rest of the team Fanisco, it really was, it was really cool to see.
Absolutely, Finn. Thank you so much once again for the opportunity. I think it was, like I said, a surreal experience, meeting new people for the first time, coming together, forming a team, and being one out of 25 or 12,500 people to kind of stand on that stage was like, an incredible experience in the end. I'm really tempted now, Finn, now that I'm talking to you, to kind of come in the game again as defending champions. But then, yeah, I think it's the first time is always the first time.
I'm sure the regulations allow that.
Absolutely. And on that note, I would love to wish all the new participants the best of luck. And, I'm sure this is going to be another great event. Once again, thanks to Hack to Scale, ICC and NIUM for organizing it in such a incredible fashion. And, everything from logistics to planning to, the delivery in the end was so nicely managed. And we were, really looked after well, at Bangalore as well, at the dinner, at the hotel. Everything was so beautifully organized. And I'm really thankful for the ICC and NIUM and Hack to Scale for that.
Thank you, Venu. Thanks a lot for sharing your insights and how you came up with the solutions and how it has been going on post that Nexon 1.0, how you have been collaborating continuously with ICC. So thanks a lot, Venu, for joining in, and hope to see you again this time competing with others. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Good luck. Bye-bye.
So moving on next, we all know that collaboration is the heart of any innovation, and the driving force behind Nexon 1.0 and Nexon 2.0 has been the collaboration between ICC and NIUM. And today we have with us Jeremiah, Senior Vice President at NIUM, and how he has been collaborating, how he has been working along with ICC. Jeremiah has been Senior Vice President, and he has made the brands work with technological giants like Microsoft earlier. So let's welcome Jeremiah onto the stage.
Hey, how's everyone?
Hello, hi Jeremiah. Great to have you amongst us today.
Thanks so much for having me. Just can't believe, like Venu said, that it's only been a couple of months since Nexon 1.0, and we're talking about 2.0. So just super excited to be on stage again with Finn and yourself, Kaushik, talking about how innovators in the cricket community can really show off their skills.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I always say how much I love doing stuff with the NIUM. We always get to do cool stuff together. But like that day in Bangalore was really just something really special for me. There was just an energy around that I'd never experienced in any kind of activation we'd done before. From a NIUM point of view, how did it work for you guys? And tell me on your recollections of the day.
Yeah, I think that day was surreal for me also. Similar to Venu, I was fairly jet lagged coming in from San Francisco the morning of the hackathon itself, but instantly entering the room and feeling the energy and the passion that the applicants had for their technologies, but also for the experience itself, just completely energized me. It really brought to life what we partnered with the ICC to go do, which was to really tap into the global nature of the sport, but also the thousands of technology-obsessed fans that are out there that are looking for outlets to really showcase their abilities within the context of a sport that they are extremely passionate about. So I would say just the energy level I just fed off, and I can't wait for 2.0.
Yeah, and I just think we're really fortunate to have NIUM as a partner who is prepared to do an event like this that is a bit different to your standard sponsorship activity, and that is having a tangible impact on you look at Venu's company, that he's going to be able to sort of hopefully build on from the opportunity that you guys created there. I think it really sort of brings to life what NIUM tries to live and breathe each day is how does technology enable businesses, and through that enable people to do what they're trying to do easier, better, and to have that, like a tangible, like outcome. It's such a credit to you and the guys to support this. And you don't just support it through the back end of it. You, as you said, you flew in from San Francisco to be part of it, and I'm glad you got such a buzz out of it. And I'm sure doing it this year in Mumbai, it's just going to be another level.
Completely, and I would say that our involvement with the Nexin Hackathon goes pretty deep. From the mentors that we provide, we're privileged enough to be able to attract some of the best technical talent in the world, I would say, kind of working on probably some of the most difficult challenges in technology when it comes to global money movement. I think that nothing is more serious than ensuring that money reaches its destination quickly and safely, and we've got engineers around the world really focused in on that. And what we'll bring to Nexin 2.0 is even access to more of our talent around the as part of this event, including our chief technology officer, who will be on the panel of judges, along with our mysterious guest. And so we'll be hosting some meetups, around the world, in Singapore, Mumbai, and even in San Francisco, to really showcase what the hackathon's all about and how folks can get involved. So really super excited.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, it's a really good point on the mentors, like the value, obviously everyone wants to win, but even just the people who, got that value of the mentoring and the exposure to those kind of people throughout the process, I'm sure they saw great value of being part of the process, even if maybe they weren't fortunate enough to get one of those enormous novelty-sized checks in Bangalore. So look, I can't wait to hang out with you in Mumbai again, and it's just going to be a phenomenal event. I've got no doubt.
It's going to be electric. Thanks for having me, Finn.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thanks a lot for joining us today and sharing the power of collaborations and how it could take to a new height the solutions that we had, and how Nexin 1.0 was the driving force behind Nexin 2.0 coming to fruition or to life this time again, once again, helping the technology enthusiasts and the cricket fans to combine together with the technologies and come up with the best of solutions. Thanks a lot, Jeremiah, for joining in, and hope to see you soon in Mumbai at the finale.
Thanks a lot, Kaushik.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jeremiah. So as Jeremiah mentioned, the mysterious guest who will be soon joining us in a few moments, we have an honor of welcoming a revered name in the cricketing world and a notable figure in the sports tech industry. As a former Indian cricketing legend, he is a testament of excellence both on and off the field. Finn, could you introduce to us the cricketing legend that is going to join us soon right now?
As a cricket fan who's happened to find their way into a technology job, this is such an honor. The man who's going to join us, has been able to most of us hope to do okay in one field, but he has excelled both in cricket and then is now having a fantastic career in technology. We're going to be joined by Indian legend Anil Kumble.
So let's welcome Mr. Anil Kumble onto the panel and have a discussion with him. So we could have a lot of commotion out there in the chat section welcoming Mr. Kumble out over here.
Hi, Finn. Hi, Kaushik.
Hello. Hi, Mr. Kumble. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for having me. It's really exciting to be a part of Nexin 2.0 Hackathon. Really looking forward to some wonderful entries. I heard a lot of good things about the hackathon in the last year. So yes, as a cricket fan now, I'm really looking forward to seeing all the tech on display.
We're privileged to have you. It's such an honor to have you on the panel, and not only for your stature on the field, but as someone who really has been in the trenches, trying to use technology to improve things. You're going to have an insight that is probably unrivaled. Can you just tell us a bit about where did that interest come from, and and tell us a little bit about your journey since you retired to where you are now?
Yeah, Finn, I've always been someone interested in technology. I'm a qualified engineer. And, the thought of being logical and trying to use data. I mean, cricket is full of data. Every ball has multiple data points for you to sort of consume and then use that data for analysis. And that's been sort of my progression even while playing. As early as late 90s, 95, 96, I'd started a company called Stump Vision, which was into data analytics at that time while playing. And then further, after, I retired and now recently, I've sort of got into a startup called Spectacom. And, data has always sort of, like I mentioned, been a part of my journey. And technology is something that I've always had the privilege of being a part of the DRS as part of the cricket committee at ICC. So it's always been interesting how we could introduce technology into cricket, and cricket has embraced technology really well. If you look at all the other sports, of course, there are a couple of other sports which are totally into technology, but cricket per se has embraced in the short span of time a lot of technology into the game, whether it is decision making, whether it is performance analysis. And so I thought, one area where we sort of need a little more is the immersive technology with regard to fans, when it comes to fans. And that's one of the reasons why Spectacom was started. And we have a sensor sticker which gives you data in real time during a live game, and that's something that I'm certainly sure will bring the fans closer to the action and provide more data for fans to just have a debate and have a discussion around. Because cricket has always been, like I mentioned, comparisons between two players, two teams, players from different eras, who is better, what would a Tendulkar how would he face a current, Rashid Khan, for example? Those kind of opportunities are, always discussed, and you can throw in all these data and numbers for you to have those conversations. So I've always been intrigued with that, and that's been my journey. And I'm really excited that ICC has now gone into fans to come out with some effective ways of engaging with use of technology in cricket. And I'm really excited to be a part of this hackathon.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you said, you've sort of been there kind of through the game as technology's become more important. It's interesting you mentioned because you were involved with sort of DRS and like the Hawkeye style depiction of probable events. Like one thing that makes Hawkeye, the DRS, different in cricket is it's predicting what's going to happen. It's not like tennis where it just shows you what happened. How did you find it, trying to deal with maybe other people in the game who weren't so comfortable with technology and give them comfort that this isn't going to ruin everything? Because, it must have been quite a challenge.
Yeah, it is. It's always quite a challenge because any new thing, people tend to sort of distance themselves, saying, no, we don't need this. And that's been always a challenge, especially in sport. And cricket, I've found that, whenever you sort of bring in a new tech or introduce something which certainly enhances the game, yes, you will not get everything foolproof. There's always going to be that human element of bringing in a decision at the end, but something that enables better decision making was what was the paramount sort of reason for us to look at technology and ensuring that this was adapted. It took a bit of time for people to get convinced, and now they've gone the other way around, saying, "Why can't technology take over?" Because we've seen many times, there have been debates about umpire's call, and everybody sort of says, "Why should there be an umpire's call when there's tech telling you that the ball is hitting the stump?" So that's a bit of a thing that you need to, because like you mentioned, Finn, it's predictive path that we are talking about. So there's always going to be an element of doubt, and you give that element of doubt to the experience of the umpire, who's sort of been there and who's standing there, 20 yards from the batsman. So I guess that's the advantage of technology coming into sport. How can you now start looking at the finer details, and how can you bring in tech to ensure that it's a better game, because we know that the shorter the game, or even in a one-day international, the World Cup, it's the largest stage for all of us, and every ball counts. Every ball, whether it's a wide or no ball, full tosses, we have seen all of that. How can you now look at tech coming in and enabling better decision making, at the same time not compromising on the speed of the game? Because we have seen that over the years, the shortest format of the game is the longest sort of game. Yeah. So it's a bit of a challenge where you need to sort of adapt, and that was always the discussion point as to how much technology is good. And I'm really looking forward to some new ideas coming through this platform.
Well, it's maybe a good segue to talk about the 3 tracks that we selected this time, and I think you'll have some really interesting sort of insight on each of those, as you sort of touched on them. So the 3 tracks that have been selected for this one is performance analytics, fan experience, and cricket at grassroots. So maybe we'll just take through each of them and have a little bit of a chat about your experience of those, but also what sort of things are you going to be looking for from the ideas that come back from the entrance into this? So we'll start with performance analytics. I'm assuming that's changed a fair bit from when you first started playing cricket. Like, what kind of feedback or statistical insight did you get when you first started out?
Not much, not much, Finn. I mean, in fact, when we took the computer into the changing room, everybody was sort of, amazed, saying, "What is this computer going to teach us?" And then slowly, you had an analyst come on board, and then it took a while for players to sort of embrace that and then accept that data certainly helps you strategize better, make better informed decisions during the game, and also help you understand your own personal games as well, in terms of whether you're a bowler or a batsman. I think it helps. But today, if you look at the way technology has taken it, and the data analytics and the analyst in the game, he or she certainly is the key driver of strategic sessions in any team meeting. And if you look at the game itself, as soon as a batter gets out, the first person that they go and sit next to would be the data analyst to check how and why they got out and what they could have done better. So it's come a long way. Yet, I think there is a lot of opportunities for people to think beyond what is out there already, and how can they bring in the video element, the ball tracking element, and also real-time analytics. And like you mentioned, Finn, I think predictive analysis is something that certainly can help, because at the end of it, you're looking at the behavior of, or behavioral patterns of players, which sort of helps you in bringing that predictive element. So you could use, and there is a lot of tools now with AI, ML, and data science, you could certainly bring in all these elements to make it even better. But at the end of it, what I think as a part of a jury that I would certainly be interested in is the simplicity of using the tool. You don't want a complicated one, because as a coach, as a player, I've played many roles. The most important aspect when you're communicating as a coach to a player is the simplicity of using the tool, and then what exactly are you sort of telling your player with regard to the data that is available. So how can we simplify this whole data process and data mining and bring it real time is the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I think that real time thing is really interesting, because you talked earlier about the shortest form often it takes the longest for an over.
Yeah.
And part of that now is, like you said, every ball matters. And this, like, you think of the World Cup last year, the last couple of overs in the famous Kohli innings against Pakistan, the decisions that had to be made on the fly there about the fielding position. Did Kohli know about any sort of probabilities of where, what kind of deliveries the bowler liked? That we're going to see that, at this World Cup probably go to another level, because there's just so much pressure and expectation on the players. And but it's not like a test match where you get together at the end of the day's play and plan what you're going to do, for the next one. It's all happening in real time.
Yeah, true.
So maybe we'll move on to the next track then, which is talking about that. If all of that stuff is happening now in the game, I feel like there's still, and I'd be really interested in your perspective on this, there is still a substantial gap between what the teams are trying to do and the teams. I'm thinking particularly like a lot of the IPL teams now seem to be quite data driven, very, they change the batting order, the field changes on every ball, but it's probably hard for fans to keep up with the changes that have happened in the game so quickly. Would you agree with that? And what's your perspective now? When you watch a game just as a fan, how do you go interpreting what's happening on the field?
Yeah, I think in terms of the experience or what we are providing for the fan hasn't changed much over the years. Yes, the quality of broadcasting has certainly improved over the years because of the quality of cameras and of course more number of cameras, more number of sort of options that the broadcaster has today. However, I would certainly want to look at how can you bring in the fans closer to the game, closer to the action, because it only gives the 30,000-40,000 people who are at the stadium the kind of experience that you want to create in a ground. Yes, if you are in Ahmedabad, then probably more than 100,000 people get that experience of being in a stadium. It's not always that you get that kind of an experience. And how do you bring that experience in your homes or through immersive? We have the tech. I mean, I've seen AR, VR glasses coming in and using that in different spheres. Yes, it is still early doors. But however, that kind of experience is something that you would like to bring in. The other thought that I think can certainly help is how can you now look at giving the controls to the fan in terms of what they want to see, what they want to follow, and what they want to consume, because that's the way the digital stream and technology is going towards. And everyone's on their mobile devices. Nobody now, not many people sit and watch a television. So it's all consuming on the move. How can you engage the fan is what I believe will be the key to bringing in a lot more immersive experience for a fan of whichever team they're following, whether it's the IPL, whether it's a different league, or even the World Cup. And each person would have some sort of a stake in their team and in their players. So how can you help that particular player or the information about that particular player reach to these fans at real time is going to be the critical aspect. So I'm really looking forward to some of the ideas that come through from fan experiences. One thing that I've always found is a constant debate, even during my time at the ICC Cricket Committee, was the Duckworth-Lewis turn, the rain rule. So how can we, will someone resolve that through an experience where, can we come up with a solution for that? From using technology. Yes, it's a data-driven process, but can someone find a solution through tech? It'll be interesting, because every time something happens, you go through the comment section of any article or any event that has happened. The fans have a lot of interesting ideas coming through. How well will that translate into use of technology? And like I said, can we come up with a simple yet effective means of using that tech to help the game get even better? And that, to me, is the greatest thing that we can look at. And tech will certainly help grow the game, reach multiple regions, and how can you now immerse all of those fans closer to the action will be the critical aspect. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think to echo what you're saying, that immersive experience is really important, because I think if there's one threat to all sports, is that the gaming industry has got so good. And so if you've got a younger generation who's grown up, in that sort of gaming environment where there is a constant source of engagement, and and people are in control, like they're used to being an active participant in the thing that they're doing. They're not just passively sitting on the couch. They're even if they're watching someone else play a game, like platforms like Twitch and equivalents, are so interactive and engaged, and people aren't a passive user. And I think all sports need to really think hard about how are they creating experiences that are going to engage that younger generation who's grown up on that. And I think cricket really has got a real benefit, because it has so much data. It's got an interesting rhythm to it. You have time between balls and things like that. And I think that I agree with what you sort of said at the start. Cricket has been a great embracer of technology. You think of how well accepted DRS is, but the broadcast innovations, and even the way we've evolved the game. We've got 3 formats of it. We've been really innovative in that space, but we just can't sit back and assume that people's love of cricket will be the same that it was for our generation. Sorry,
Finn. Sorry.
No.
The other thing that I feel is also equally important is, how do you get the stadium fans in the stadium experience the game even better than just the consumption of sitting and watching? Because today you see any live event that you're watching, even if you're watching a program on television, you're constantly using your telephone to sort of consume other information. So it's not just one thing that you're looking at, but you're also consuming other data. So how can you engage everyone into consuming cricket and offering them different opportunities and different means to consume that would be the challenge. And the current generation reacts differently when you're having a conversation or a medium where it's interactive, rather than just a medium where you're only consuming from one end. So it can't be a one-way street. It needs to be a two-way street.
And you look at at a really macro level, the rapid increase in like cloud computing and things like that, and the sort of ways people will be able to create experiences that don't rely on a large piece of hardware. Things will be able to stream directly from the cloud, and I can see the next few years is going to really change some of those things that like up until now has been a a hurdle because you had to buy a console or you had to buy a headset or something like that. And I can see, that's going to be really fascinating to watch that stuff evolve. And now we might just spend a bit of time talking about the third track, one that's very close to my heart. I have an 8-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter, and I'm desperately trying to get them interested in cricket, which is a bit of a battle when they go to a school with a bunch of kids from Europe who are not so familiar with it. But that challenge to people who are right at that when starting out, because cricket, you compare cricket to football. Football, you roll a ball out, a kid instantly knows what to do with that. Cricket, there is some initial things that need to be overcome to get to a point where you can have a really enjoyable game with other people. And so traditionally the way that's been dealt with by cricket boards, I used to work at Cricket Australia, was we would send people out to school, send people to local communities to run coaching clinics. Now that's fantastic, but it's not very scalable. You can only, there's a resource constraint or a money constraint on how often you can do that. Now at the ICC, where you look, we're trying to spark interest in cricket right across the world in non-traditional markets, and you've seen some amazing stories recently with a women's Rwanda team in the under-19s, the women's team from Indonesia in the under-19s World Cup. It's really exciting. But if we're really going to grow cricket in those countries, I feel like technology is going to be really important to that, because then you can scale the coaching and you're not just relying on how many people you can get out into the schools. Someone who, it's played the game your whole life, but also has been involved in coaching. What do you think the sort of key things that technology could do to improve coaching at that early level?
Yeah, I think, bang on. You certainly need technology, especially in countries or in places where cricket is not a natural sport. So you certainly need utilization of whatever is there for you to sort of engage the kids, because the game can only grow and get better if the local sort of people living from that area come in and play the sport. Otherwise, it'll only be the expats who are interested in the game, and they consistently play amongst each other. Yes, there is certainly interest in the game, but if you want the game to really develop, and you need the local citizens from that country to sort of get a hook on the game and then play the sport. And the best way is to sort of introduce that at the school level, at the grassroots level, where you make it interesting. And with technology, of course, you can make that interesting. The opportunity to have real-time videos of great players, them speaking about the game, talking about technique, and perhaps even devising tools to help these kind of players grow their game even remotely through experts coming in. So that one of the things that we designed, the sticker that we developed, was for that, where you just put the sticker on, you have an app, it downloads every data that you play, and remotely as well. So you could potentially, you spoke about cloud computing, and that is something that we have utilized as well. So it's a place where, like you said, you spoke about Cricket Australia. It's true of any talent scouting today, is to sort of physically see the player and then pick the player and then say, okay, there is something in this kid, and you sort of take that forward until and unless, yes, you have score sheets and potential reports of a certain player that someone is sort of following. Then you could get that talent over and then give them opportunities and hope that they move to the next level. That's going to be extremely difficult. So use of technology comes very handy there, and you could have every kid, potentially being watched through AI, cloud means of collecting this data, collecting information, and benchmarking against certain sets of players in that age category, where if they come in, automatically they sort of filter into that, and then it becomes a lot easier to engage with those kind of kids and take them to the next level. Because what is certainly not lacking, but then that is something that perhaps is the key, is when you have a large population like in India. If you take India for an example, everyone wants to play for India, but it's not always that you sort of identify that kind of talent. It's very difficult. So this kind of technology will certainly help every child who's playing out there, their data to come through to the right sources for you to sort of look in and filter that. And that is something that I think has extreme potential. And that's the way I would certainly look at approaching tech at the grassroots, especially at the coaching and building budding cricketers to come through the system, and also engaging countries where cricket is not a natural sport in that particular region.
Completely. And I think one thing I'd encourage people when they're thinking about how to build a strong product here is, how do you build a community around it? Like, I think there's been products like Strava that have done a really good job of turning, going for a run or a bike ride by yourself into a community experience and incentivizing you to get out there the next day and get better and get a better time. And, because the beauty of sport is, especially a team sport like cricket, is it's not just you by yourself. All the benefits you get of being part of something bigger, of being part of a community, and so that people don't feel like they're just sort of out there by themselves trying to work it out, that there's people around them to support them. Technology has been really good at solving that in other areas. I haven't really seen it done in too many cases with sport. Strava is probably an example where it has. And so how can you sort of leverage those network effects, that community, to build something that gets people back in and because I'm sure you know better than I do, the only way you get better at something is just time and repetition, and so how do you inspire people to do that? Well, I think hopefully if everyone they've got some idea of sort of what we're going to be looking for when we're on the panel. I hope everyone watching this is inspired by the tracks that we've chosen for this. I guess to reiterate, we're really looking for as Venu said, we're looking for problems being solved, and so hopefully hearing the insights from Anil, who's got such a unique perspective on this, maybe put some questions in your head and you thought, wow, there's a problem there that really needs to be solved, and I've got the solution, and I'm going to go and do it. And I hope that today. So, and I don't know if you want to leave any thoughts with the people watching this today, but I can't wait to be with you in Mumbai to see the finalists.
Yeah, really looking forward to that, because like you said, it's a great opportunity for people out there. Yes, you can come up with a great idea, solve the problem, but I think what certainly we'll be looking out for would be the simplicity of using the particular tool.
Thank you, Anil, and thank you, Finn, again for taking us through and setting up the expectations and tone for each of the tracks out there, be it performance analytics or fan experience or cricket at grassroots, and what should participants be looking forward to while curating their ideas and moving ahead. So thanks a lot once again, Mr. Kumble, for joining in and sharing your insights on how we could come up with the best of the solutions for Nexus 2.0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So with this, setting up the tone for the Nexus 2.0, we are at an introductory session right now. Participants can look forward to further sessions like Ask Me Anything that we'll be having soon. The idea submissions are open right now onto the portal. Before we wrap today's session, Finn, if you have any thoughts for the participants, anything that you would like to express on when they are submitting their ideas, when they are working on their prototypes, what should that be that they should keep in mind while making those submissions?
I think really just keep focused on who's the audience for that, who's going to be using it, who's your target market. Be really, really clear on that. And then also, how are you going to communicate that to us? Because the early sessions, that idea needs to be communicated to us really quick, easily, so we can grasp it. As Anil kept saying, keep it simple. We're not looking for the next Facebook necessarily here. Like what is sort of something that is, really an idea that'll cut through and we can understand really clearly, and that can be hopefully put to market as you saw. The NISCO idea that won. We're working really hard with them to have that operational for the World Cup. So we back people's ideas in this beyond just this event, but just really get your narrative and your storytelling, sharp, so that all your great technology solutions is clearly understood by us and can be communicated to us. But please, we're super excited about this. We're heavily involved with this. Hack to Skill does an amazing job on this. They support you all the way through. So please, I couldn't encourage you more to give it a shot.
Thank you, Finn, for those words. We'd say, again, it's a culmination of the idea, the technologies that the teams are working upon, and the storytelling that they bring up to the jury, to the mentors, to the entire panel, so that they can work their way up to the finale and then ultimately grab the coveted winning position. So all the best to all the participants, and looking forward to meet all the participants again in the AMA session and way forward. Thank you, Finn. Thanks a lot for joining in and taking us through. Really hoping to meet you soon in the finale, and then looking at the best of the solutions that the cricketing fraternity as well as the technological enthusiasts have for us to demonstrate in the finale. Thank you, Finn. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Thank you. With this, I'd now like to take all the participants through the entire journey of the hackathon on how to participate, where to make your submissions, what are the key insights, and all of it. So I'll just, without wasting much of time, I'll just take all the participants through the entire journey that lies up ahead. So right now we are at the introductory session in which we have explained the tracks. The registrations had opened way back on 17th of August. We'll be having certain mentor hours starting from 28th September to 29th of September. In between, we'll be having 3 meetups at different locations, one being the Mumbai, the other being the Singapore, and the third one being the San Francisco meetup at NIUM offices. There will be an AMA session on 22nd of September, and the registrations would close on 29th of September. This is where the participants need to submit their ideas onto the portal and make their submissions so that they are shortlisted for the prototype development phase. The shortlist announcement would be made on 6th of October. There would be an induction session for the teams that participate and proceed forward to the prototyping stage. We'll be having a checkpoint with those teams on 12th of October, in which the entire mentor panel will be engaging with you, understanding your prototypes and working on your solutions, assisting you on how you can build your prototypes well. If the participating teams who have qualified for the prototype development phase need some assistance, there will be mentor-mentee round conducted again, wherein you can have your queries answered. On 24th of October, we'll be having the final submissions closure that would require the teams to submit their prototype that they have been building from the time they have registered to be selected for the grand finale. There will be an eliminator round, which would last for 3 days from 25th to 27th of October. In the eliminator round, the teams would be presenting to the entire panel of the mentors virtually, and then the grand finale of the top teams tentatively right now on 11th and 12th of November in Mumbai. So this is what the entire next events look like in Nexin 2.0. And for the teams and what's in the stake, here it is. You have got a prize money worth $20,000. The winner takes away $9,000, and the next top three runner-ups take $3,000 each. There's a special mention category of $2,000 for the participants or the team with the best idea, with a nerve-wracking solution which deserves a special mention. So this is it. See you all. If you have got any queries, feel free to reach out to us at the support email. We'd be more than happy to assist you. Make sure that you make your submissions before the registrations and the idea submissions close. We'll meet you again in the AMA session. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone, and see you soon.
Tech geeks and cricket fanatics, do not miss the chance to be part of the cricket revolution. Register now for the Next in 2.0 Hackathon and unleash your innovation. Calling all cricket enthusiasts with coding prowess. Register for the Next in Hackathon 2.0. A unique opportunity to showcase your skills and get a chance to meet me.